A heated confrontation erupts on GB News as a former Labour spokesperson calls burning migrant effigies disgusting and racist, while the host challenges back, what does it matter what colour their skin is? The explosive exchange reveals deep divisions over Northern Ireland's controversial July 12th bonfire, featuring brown dummies in boats. As tensions escalate, unexpected footage from the English Channel shows the massive cost of migrant operations, with Nigel Farage declaring it a national security emergency. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications to stay updated.
Well, it's disgusting, isn't it, Ben? It's racist.
Sorry, I couldn't quite hear you. Say it again.
It's disgusting, Ben, and it's racist, isn't it?
Are you asking me? I don't think it's particularly racist, no.
Would you think it's racist to put brown dummies on top of a bonfire?
What does it matter what does it matter what colour their skin is? It's a symbolic bonfire opposing illegal migration. Why are you talking about skin colour?
Because they're brown dummies. Why did they choose brown dummies, Ben?
Well, why would they? Again, what does it matter what their skin colour is? It's about migration.
Ben, why did they choose brown dummies?
No idea. Ask them, James. Ask them. Anyway, so you had the same you had the same problem with Donald Trump being burned, did you? And Nigel Farage at the Lewis bonfire, James, I suspect.
My God, Ben, you are doing the mental gymnastics today, aren't you?
Answer the question, James. You had the same concern when Donald Trump, Nigel Farage, Liz Truss were being burned at Lewis bonfire, did you? I
don't think any effigy should be burnt anywhere.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, convenient.
But I mean, especially in this case, in the context of what we're seeing in Northern Ireland. I mean, let's be clear here, and the UK government has a real responsibility to step up here. They're prescribing Palestinian Action as a terrorist organisation, and yet you've got groups like Britain First running riot and saying, and spurring on these things, trying to drive these divisions. In the Republic, in the south of Ireland, you've got Conor McGregor and the likes of that, stirring up ridiculous tensions, dividing communities and causing people's houses, Ben, people's houses to be firebombed.
Well, do you know what happens, James? Do you know what happens, James? Generally, I think we've seen it over time in history. When a government fails to protect its borders and protect its people, it leads to extremism. When you have extremist...
Ben, that sounds
let me finish, please. When you have extremist policies such as allowing 44,000 illegal migrants across the Channel in a year, most of them fighting-age men, we don't know who they are, where they're from, I keep saying. When you allow that kind of extremist policy to happen and the extreme way in which a country's national identity is changing, and you leave people fearful, and you leave young women and young girls at risk of increased sexual attack, and so on and so on. We can go on forever. When that happens, that tends to lead to extremist behaviour.
No, it doesn't, Ben. I'm sorry. It's funny, isn't it? Because 9 times out of 10, when we talk about issues of personal responsibility and independence, right, you take the side of, people's personal responsibility and their choice, and it's down to individuals how they act. Yeah, when it comes to something like this, like burning brown dummies on a bonfire, which is so evidently, to me, to my family, to friends, to everybody I've spoken to in the past couple of days,
James, you keep talking about the colour of their skin.
Ben, let me finish. Yet you can't bring yourself to say it's racist. You would rather go through hoops to justify what's happening and say that it's the fault of, migration and blame it back on immigration, when actually
I think the bonfire's perfectly fine.
I'm not out there
referring to extremism. I don't think this bonfire is extremist. I think when you were talking about firebombing homes and so on, that's extremist. That's what I was referring to. I don't have a problem with this bonfire.
How do you not think it's extremist to burn effigies of migrants?
Well, the same way I didn't think it was extreme to burn effigies of Donald Trump or Liz Truss or Nigel Farage. That's people's prerogative.
Yes, it is.
OK, well, we disagree then. There's nothing beyond that. There's no deeper than that. You think it's racist, I don't.
Right, Ben, you need to switch off Twitter, you need to leave the GB News studio, and you need to go and touch grass, and you need to speak to real people and find out that they will find this.
James.
Now is the handover, the Border Force vessel Hurricane that's moved in. Alongside me, of course, is Nigel Farage, who very kindly invited us on this fishing trip. And, of course, as is often the case, Nigel, we see the migrant boats in the Channel, and once again we're seeing extraordinary scenes here.
Quite extraordinary. We have Hurricane here, the Border Force vessel, the migrant dinghy alongside. They're beginning to offload. You can see people getting on the back of it now. French naval vessel behind, 1 French naval rib, 2 Border Force ribs, and right behind another huge boat that's been employed. You can just see it now behind Border Force, and that boat is employed just to pick up the empty dinghies. The sheer amount of kit, the cost is incredible, but I've seen something today I've never seen. So this dinghy that was being escorted by the French Navy gave them 40 life jackets. There were obviously people on board without life jackets, and now, would you believe, the French Navy have collected the life jackets back. I mean, the whole thing is unbelievable.
And I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? That, you know, the cost here, we hear an awful lot about the cost in terms of the hotels, the accommodation cost, but actually just the operation here in the channel must be very significant.
Absolutely massive, and of course I haven't even mentioned the drone or the RAF spotter planes. I mean, just look at what you're seeing, just before your very eyes now. It is just, how many billions a year? The cost overall of this, with the hotels, with everything, with these daily operations, I don't know. No one's got a proper estimate, but it's costing us a fortune. And frankly, for the French to have been given 800 million quid to give life jackets, to escort them to Border Force, this is 2 governments operating together. There's no will to stop this of any kind at all.
And if we get to the point where we may overtake the 2022 figure of 46,000. I mean, you're calling for this to be declared a national emergency. Is there any sign that government will listen to that?
Well, I'm calling for it specifically to be a national security emergency, and I'm basing that on crime. I'm basing that on the increase in sexual assaults. I'm basing that on terrorism, and I can back up every single one of those statements. The country increasingly knows it, and we have a Prime Minister who is utterly flat-footed, doesn't seem to know what to do, but is frankly just going to take orders today from President Macron. I'm not even sure Westminster or Parliament or much of the mainstream media even understands the sheer anger that these scenes bring in ordinary, decent, reasonable people.
Or the very significant resources that have to be deployed for just one migrant boat. It is incredible. Nigel Farage, thank you very much indeed for talking to us. We'll continue to leave you